Hello, hi guys. Okay, I had the video about the identification of a setup. I had it earlier, but I had to delete it because it contains some private information about my students, and I don't want to display it to the public. Anyway, this is going to be a two-part series about the identification of a setup. All right. So without further ado, I'll just continue because it's going to be quite lengthy. So I have to divide it into two parts. In which the second part I will try to do it by tomorrow, right? So let's get to it right now. So before you identify any kind of a setup, right? Okay, this is a book by Christopher Lee, and as you know, I'm a very big admirer of Christopher Lee, all his books. Yeah, you can get a book, but however, how you understand it and put into context is really another story altogether, right? So we are going to do that right now, okay? So if you look at, I just give you an example, right? Okay, just do it because if you are going to have, if you think that you're going to be a trend trader, okay, you are going to be a trend trader. If you want to be a trend trader, there are a lot of different ways that you can trade if you're doing trend. Okay, like example, if you're looking at this downtrend, what would you do in this kind of situation? Would you wait for a pullback, or would you enter a new position, or you want to enter right now because you see it's a strong downtrend but price is low? So what would you do in this kind of situation? Right, so would you, the question is, will you sell immediately or will you wait for a pullback? So either option could be the right one depending on your context or your view of trend trading, right? Okay. If you want to sell immediately, you feel that the trend is strong, then you can sell immediately. But if you feel that the price has already gone too low and you got to wait for a pullback to get a good price, then you are also right. But so what happened in the next time is that the price did not move further down, but it did not also make a pullback. Instead, it became a consolidation. So in this case, what would you do? So would you sell or wait? So there's a lot of context, right? And then in the end, price start to move up. So what would you do? Would you sell, wait, or buy? So one trend trader might think that this is going to be the end of a downtrend and just buy in anticipation that the price continue to move upwards. Another trend trader might say that, oh, this market is getting choppy and would like to wait and wait, prefer on the sidelines to see if there is any sell signal coming on later on. And then another trend trader might think this is a pullback, is a good opportunity to add to his short position and enter a new sell trade. So all could be making the right decision, right? So at the end of the day, right? So the most important question that you need to ask yourself is this one: how you define your trend, what you think causes prices to move, how you think prices tend to move, what is your trading time frame, how you define the end of a trend, and what is your risk reward ratio. Okay. So like for me, I define the trend is that I look at impulse wave. Okay, higher high, higher lows is an uptrend, lower high, lower lows is a downtrend. Impulse wave is up, that means it's more into up direction. I will be looking for a buy. Okay, so I'm going to show you based on the example of how I define a trend. Then that is how we find about a setup. If you look into my video based on, if you look into my video on the 23rd of July, I did make an analysis that Euro Yen is going down and Aussie USD is going down. So you can take a look on the 23rd of July. Okay, 23rd of July, I said that it's going down and it's went down. I analyzed. So from there you can get an idea. Okay, so I'm going to show you. This is about a practical view about things. Okay, this is the Euro USD. Okay, so when I identify a setup, right? Okay, let me give you an example before we continue further. Okay, like for instance, right, if market is going to move sideways in this case, is there a setup that you can take? Okay, so one trend trader will say yes, there is an opportunity for us to buy from here, but there's an opportunity for us to sell from there. Okay, this is what a range trader might do. Okay, another trend trader might say that no, I'm not going to enter this market until I see another impulse move. So in this case, right, for like it's like that will be me. Okay, I don't like to trade this type of market. I like to see a continuation of a trend. Like for instance, it depends on what is the trend before it when this happens. Like example, it could be like this. It came from an uptrend. Okay. Or it could come from this, from a downtrend. So it depends on what kind, before you went to consolidation, what happened first. You need to know all these things first before you want to, you need to, this is what the, getting to understand the price action story behind it. All right. So it all depends on what is the context. And for me, I like example, if we look at Euro USD, okay, we look at Euro USD for this week, I see a setup. Okay, I see a sell setup because why? Because you can see that this market, the uptrend is definitely quite over for the meantime. Okay, why I say that? Because market is having a very strong move here, and then the went into a consolidation out here. Okay, doesn't go anywhere, and then market broke out. So when market broke out, there is a setup for us to take. That means you want to go short. So if you go short, you are good. And then what happens? It went into another consolidation. All right, there is no setup that we can take right here. And I don't go when market inside is this. I do not go. I like to wait for a breakout. So in this case, there is a decision that has been made. Market has come out. So in this case, there is a continuation of the trend. Okay, a strong impulse move, a flat move here, and then market continuation. So I'm just waiting for a pullback. I'll wait for a pullback around here to look for a sell, unless market close over here and goes above. If I see a strong impulse wave going up, okay, but we have to see what price action tells us. So but the direction that we are going to take is going towards the downside. Okay, and usually this is how I manage from a daily point of view. From weekly point of view, right, I look at the structure and momentum only. Okay, and I usually, if I identify a setup, right, I want, let's say, how do you define the start of a trend? How do you define the end of a trend? Okay, I define the end of a trend. Okay, for an uptrend, how do I define? For an uptrend, I define is higher high, higher low. Okay, it's up here, that's how higher low, okay, and higher high. Okay, this on the weekly point of view. Okay, and this is the previous higher low, and this is the previous higher low. Okay, once, and then even consolidation out here, right? Once market close above below the latest higher low, it already tells me that this uptrend is over. Okay, it tells me that this uptrend is over. Any movement up is just a pullback to go even lower. So that is where I see a setup. So here I will see for my weekly, I want to identify a setup, I want to see this thing. So I want to see, I see that in this case, right, I'm looking for a short rather than a buy. I'm looking to sell. I don't look for a buy, because once the market starts to go down, any buy at support will just post, get your account toasted. So it doesn't matter. We want to look for a sell until the trend stops or the downtrend start to weaken. Okay, but for now, in present context, I'm still looking for a sell. So that's how I identify my setups in terms of the for how I get my entries. So in this case, my structure, if you look at the structure and momentum, as I say for weekly, right? Compare the last 2 weeks, don't need to go so far away. Look at the last 2 weeks, okay? This is the previous week close, and this is last week close, right? Compare last week close and the previous week. Which one is a stronger bearish close? The last week close, right? The last week close is definitely stronger than the previous week. So that is telling me that the sellers are totally in control of this market. Okay, the sellers are in control on this market. So what I want to do is that I will just want to validate my, okay, this is my open price. I'll put my resistance over here, my levels, and then this is the high that I put my time trade. So this will be my level for my weekly. I did not mark any more levels because it does not matter to me. I did not want to mark my support over here as well because it does not matter to me. If I'm going to mark my support down here, it's just not for a buy, it's just for a taking profit. That's it all. So my identification of a setup is in this way. So in this case, it's going to continue its downtrend. And today it went up, that means it's still trying to make a retracement. Okay, and it's a very likely retracement. So where will I look for a sell? I want to look for a sell most probably in the 4 hour. I want to see some sort of weak buy momentum or bearish engulfing or false break. Like for instance, in this case, right? You can see right now, based on the Euro USD, right? The price, I mean, the sellers have exhausted. Why? How do I know that? Look at this momentum. The seller's momentum is weakening. The buyers are starting to push the price up. But do you want to take a buy? This is where just now the context I tell you about. If you think this trend is over, this downtrend is over, that is another story of how what kind of decision will you make. So for me, I would not take because I already decided that I want to take a sell. I'll only be looking for a sell opportunity. And today is just Monday. It doesn't make sense for me to enter any position right now. So I would like to wait for a retrace, most probably 2 days around here or here, most probably on Tuesday or Wednesday to add my positions to sell. Because I'm taking a sell based on my weekly close momentum, based on my weekly close structure, and based on the daily wave that I tell you that market already broke out, okay? And that is why I took a sell, and that is the only reason. So it all depends on your trading time frame and how you wish to enter a position. Okay, like for me, I like to enter based on the 4 hour. I don't look. You just see that in this case, I never look below than 4 hours, but it doesn't make sense. Okay, okay. So that is what I say about identification of a setup. So let's go through about this week. For like I'm still looking for a sell at euro yen as well. Okay, let's go to euro yen. So you can just take a look in your charts and ask yourself whether do you see a setup. So begin with weekly, ask yourself. If you look at the wave here, there is a setup. Where is the latest higher low? It's around here. This is the latest higher low. Why? After this higher low, market makes into a higher high, and then market breaks the latest higher low. Once it breaks the latest higher low, it signals me that this uptrend is over. So market make a retrace, make a false break, and come down. Market make a retrace, make a false break, and come down. And as simple as that. So for this week, I'm still looking for a sell because the trend is still going towards the downside. Just as simple as that. So what is this movement? A retracement, and this is about on Monday. So that is how I look at setups. Just simple price action. So for the daily, we can see that, like for instance, right now, you have your main focus should be on this swing, on this swing, on this swing, on this impulse wave. And your focus is not about here to buy at support. Because for instance, in this downtrend, if you're going to buy at here, you still be short-lived. If you are going to buy from here, you still, you get lucky, then after that it went down. Okay, so never fight the trend. So the trend is going down. So that's how I define my setup. Okay, so that is just how I define my setup. And I'll just look at the waves and I see how strong it is. Okay, so for instance, in this case, you can see that the down move is still very strong, and we can see a lower high, lower low start to build up. Okay, and today is only Monday. It's hard for us to find any clues as to where the price is going, but for now, it's definitely a retracement. Okay, so how is this how is this trend not valid anymore? I'll just mark my latest lower high, which is here. Okay, because why I did not mark over here, because the beginning of this down, price move here. Okay, let's say if this is a downtrend, if price goes over here, is this still a downtrend or is it going to be an uptrend? No, but it's still up downtrend, because why? As long as it's not for previous lower high, the latest, it can still go down. Okay, that's why this is my fail safe. As long as price could not close above this latest lower high, I'm still looking for a sell. It's the same example in this, for instance, in this case, right? Let me just go from here. Price went down here. This is the first lower high. Okay. Price did not close above, it went down. Price it went up, but cannot close the wicks above. Still go down. So the downtrend is still intact. So that is how I define my setup. Okay, so I will continue tomorrow with more about live trade, about because tomorrow then I will, because it's time for you to digest in. The most important thing, you need to define a start of a trend. Okay, you need to know when is the start of a trend, when is the end of a trend, how do you think prices will move, what causes prices to move, in what manner will it move, how you define the structure and momentum. All these are important. If you can't understand that, it's hard for you to do any kind of trend trading. Okay, so you need to answer that type of questions before you can understand how to enter the market. Because you need to enter the market with proper education, and you need to know how the prices move, and not just buy and sell blindly, isn't it? Okay, so that's it for me. I'll continue with you tomorrow. Okay, bye.